welcome back to my kitchen. Today I'm making a really lovely, tender, succulent chicken. Well, 3 chickens. And we're going to start off with a very simple butter and garlic stuffing. So we've got around 10 medium to large size cloves of garlic. This is enough for 3 full chickens. So what we're going to start off by doing is I've just cut the garlic up slightly. Just this helps when you want to grind it down in your pestle or mortar. You can of course use a food processor or a garlic mincer. I like to add a little pinch of salt. This just helps the garlic mush up a little faster. And we're going to grind this down into a fine paste. Around 250 grams of room temperature butter, and I'm just going to pound this into the garlic until it's extra nice and soft. You want it at room temperature, it makes it much easier to work with. Now I'm going to add some lovely tendons of parsley and a little more salt because I really want to flavour this butter. And again, we're going to mix this parsley into that butter until it's all combined. Put your wonderful garlic, parsley and butter mixture aside for a second whilst we prepare the chicken. Now over here I have one of my 3 chickens. I prefer to use smaller chickens rather than larger ones. I find they tend to get more flavourful. I've washed and passed it dry, and I'm going to run a finger under the skin that connects it to the breast over here. I'm going to just gently cut through this membrane over here, but not too far in because I don't want it to peel back too far, and we're just going to push our fingers back here. This will make it easier to get that butter under the skin, which is our next step. So that beautiful butter and parsley mixture that we had, we're going to pass it under the skin. Tearing that membrane right there helps you not break through that skin, which will keep all that butter inside. So we're just going to push it in as best as we can. We're going to press that skin down, and we're going to massage that chicken, all that butter back into that chicken. So all of it gets under that delicious skin and will give you really good flavour from the inside out. So as you can see it's all getting pushed back here. With the remaining butter on your hands, just smear it over the rest of that chicken. You don't want any of it to go to waste. Next we're going to give the chicken a very generous sprinkle of salt. I'm going to do this on both sides of the chicken, and freshly cracked black pepper. We're going to do the same to the other side because we want the flavour to really infuse into this chicken. None of this will go to waste. Salt, and again some freshly cracked black pepper. And we're ready for the next step. Next I'm adding some dried mixed herbs. This particular blend contains a mixture of sage, basil and thyme. You can of course make this blend yourself. I'm not adding too much of this herb, just enough where I would get a gentle flavour of it coming through the chicken. And the same thing to the other side of our chicken. If you like a little heat in your food, you can also add some chili flakes. I love a little kick in any chicken dish that I make, and you make it to as spicy as you like. And some good quality sweet paprika. Now we're going to add plenty of paprika until this chicken is a nice bright red. I'm not going to say specific quantities, it doesn't matter, just make this chicken nice and bright red with your paprika. We're just going to lightly push this into the chicken before we start adding some of our wet ingredients. Next we're going to start grating some lemon zest. I'm going to have to make do with this zester that I broke. We're going to zest the lemons we're using as well as juicing them. We don't want any of that delicious flavour to go to waste. Plus it's going to help lend this really lovely lightness and flavour to this chicken. And then we're going to add the juice of this lemon to our chicken. I'm adding plenty because remember I want to get both sides. I'm using 1 full lemon for this, or at least just over half. I just decided I'm going to add a little sprinkle of dried garlic as well as the fresh because I really want to flavour this through, and a very generous drizzle of olive oil. Very generous. And once that is done, all of this flavour we're going to spread around the chicken. Make sure you're getting the wings, the thighs, the cavity, everything. We're going to pick it up from the bottom of the tray as well. We want none of this to go to waste. We're going to do the same to the other side as well. Get some of the olive oil and lemon into that chicken. Every piece of it. Don't be afraid to get your hands dirty. And my first chicken has been left. It's been marinated. I'm going to marinate the other 2, and this is going to go into the fridge overnight. You could leave it for around a couple of hours. The longer you leave it would be better. It's going to let those flavours really infuse. My chicken has been marinating overnight. I marinate it in a plastic bag, put it in the fridge, and then you want to take it out and put it in the roasting tray. Squeeze out all the juice that's in those bags onto your chicken. That is all the olive oil and flavour that's going to really help give it that beautiful golden brown colour from the oven. And we're going to let this sit in the tray for around half an hour until it reaches room temperature, or just at least it loses that fridge chill. Now I've got a few cloves of garlic in my pestle and mortar, and I've just gave them a very gentle bashing, just enough to split the skin, but I'm not trying to mush and mulch that garlic. Just enough so when that olive oil hits it, that flavour will really release nicely. Now I'm going to add that garlic that we just crushed in and around our chicken, and we're going to start adding some vegetables of our choice. Now whenever I do a roast, I like to add a few full chilies in there. It's up to you what you add. Some nice sweet peppers, and I also love to add a little onion. This helps to give it all that extra flavour from these vegetables cooking into your chicken, and some carrots. Sometimes I add sweet potato. When it cooks into this chicken stock coming from that chicken, it becomes so tender and flavourful. You can add parsnips, you can even add some squash or anything that you really fancy. And we're going to add a generous sprinkle of salt and pepper. Some salt for those vegetables because they haven't been seasoned and we really want flavour running throughout. Some freshly cracked black pepper to taste. Some mixed herbs. The same as what went onto my chicken. I don't want to use 2 different flavours on the vegetables because it's cooking with the chicken. I want it to complement each other nicely. And a generous glug of olive oil. This is going to help those vegetables cook with the chicken. And I'm going to put a little bit on the chicken as well, just to help it fry up nicely. And finally, I like to get some little flecks of butter all around and on that delicious chicken, on those vegetables. It's going to help lend some really great flavour to this dish and turn it from a simple roast chicken into a showstopper. And and this is then ready for the oven. Now for the chicken, I'm going to cook it in a 190°C oven. Because my roasting tray is very full with veg and chicken, it will take a little longer, so I reckon this chicken could take between an hour and a half to even 2. But when you think it's getting close to that point where it's done, you do want to check the chicken to make sure it's cooked, but we'll get onto that later. The chicken has been in the oven for an hour at 200°C. We're just going to take a look. Be careful when you open it up. Watch that steam. It's not quite cooked through yet, so we're going to now cook it with the foil off for the remainder of that time to get some good colour on that chicken, to cook out some of that moisture that's in this and really develop those flavours further. What I'm going to do before I pop this back in the oven is get some of those juices that are in the bottom of that pan that contains all that olive oil and chicken stock and butter. I'm going to get some of that and baste it over the chicken, and we're going to do this every 15 minutes from now until this is cooked through, because I want that chicken to stay as juicy and tasty and delicious as possible. And this is ready to go back into the oven until cooked through. It's been another 15 minutes and I'm going to baste it yet again. I just wanted to show what the chicken's looking like. It's bubbling away in the oven. You can see the chicken on the right. The skin is blistering and crisping up so nicely. And that's just because we've been constantly basting it. So it has been about an hour and 45 minutes and this chicken is perfectly cooked. We're now going to put that foil back on after giving it a final basting and let it rest for at least 20 minutes. You know the chicken is done when the legs are really resting nicely, they sort of fall flat. That chicken starts to pull away from that bone, but if you're unsure, cut into a little piece of the thickest part of the thigh, because the thigh takes longer to cook than the breast, and if the juices run clear, your chicken is cooked. And now it's ready to eat. You can see how tender this leg is. I'm barely pulling on it, and look how easily that is just coming away. That meat is just so tender and juicy. See the parsley on that breast, it's so tender. You can see all those juices, and it's such a simple, easy recipe. And what I've done, I've taken some of that chicken stock and gravy that was in the pan, and you can use that as a dipping sauce for your chicken. Oh, I can tell this is going to be absolutely delicious. If you enjoy the recipe, please leave a like, subscribe, click that notification bell. If you want to follow my Instagram, the link is in the description below. Thank you for watching.